If you're watching this video, you must know who Pharma Bro is, aka Martin Shkreli. If you don't know who he is, you are in the right place. Martin Shkreli became famous around the world when he initially purchased a pharmaceutical company, and no sooner after the acquisition was completed, he raised the price of the life-saving drug that the company owned by 5,000%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Martin Shkreli, and he's back in the public eye. In today's episode, we'll be taking a deep dive into the fascinating character that is Martin Shkreli and what he is up to today. He's a truly fascinating character, and we'll try and uncover that today. Before we get into the episode, if you're watching the episode on YouTube, please do not forget to hit the bell button and please subscribe if you want to watch more content like this. And if you are listening to the audio version on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, please consider subscribing. The son of Croatian and Albanian immigrants, Martin Shkreli was born in Brooklyn, New York City in 1983. He grew up in a working class neighborhood in Brooklyn and attended elite public schools. He went on to study at Baruch College, a public New York university that is well known for its world-class business program. His first venture into the business world came when he got an intern position at a well-known hedge fund based in New York at the age of 17. From there, he went on to graduate and he began to move around in different hedge funds, working his way up and gradually and eventually starting his own hedge fund in 2009 with a former classmate. This is when things started to get interesting in terms of Martin Shkreli's story and business practices. It is said that during the time that he owned the hedge fund with his classmate, they would make their fortunes using methods that were directly from the king of stonks. It is said that the duo would talk about biotech companies on industry-related websites and subsequently short them in the stock market, in turn making the two men fortunes. Fast forward to 2015, he had a brilliant idea, and this idea is the one that made him famous. The brilliant idea he came up with was to buy licenses for out-of-patent drugs and then hike the prices. This would bring in a strong revenue stream without the work and the expense of developing and bringing new drugs to the market. In 2015, a company led by Martin Shkreli acquired Daraprim, a treatment for HIV patients, for a whopping $55 million. And this is a nice segue into the next section of the video. Martin Shkreli earned mass notoriety after obtaining the patent for an anti-parasitic drug used to treat HIV and hiking the price from $13.50 a pill to $750 per pill. As this became public knowledge, it made Martin Shkreli famous overnight. The price hike happened soon after Shkreli acquired the rights to the medication, and by doing so, he was taking steps to prevent rival pharmaceutical companies from making a generic version of the drug his company had acquired. Raising the price by a whopping 5,000% was unheard of. This meant that Shkreli violated both federal and state laws through anti-competitive conduct. An FTC lawsuit ordered Shkreli back in January 2022 to return almost $65 million in wrongfully obtained profits and banned him for life from the pharmaceutical industry. In 2018, he was sentenced to federal prison for unrelated securities fraud. A US attorney stated he essentially ran his company like a Ponzi scheme. He spent 5 years in prison and has been recently released in May 2022. The other result of this arrest was Shkreli was also banned from the securities industry and from serving as an officer or a director of any publicly traded company. So the Martin Shkreli story brings us up to this point now in his life. He was released from prison in May 2022 as mentioned, and no more than 2 months down the line, he's back with another business venture, and this time he's heading towards an area that is the least regulated around the world, and this territory is Web3. For those that would like to know what Web3 is, Web3 is basically a reimagination of the World Wide Web as we know it, or Web 2.0 as it's also known as. What makes Web 3 different from Web 2.0 is that it uses blockchains, cryptocurrencies and NFTs to give power back to the users in the form of ownership, hence the limited regulation in this industry yet. Just as a side note, Web3 has been described by the Tesla CEO Elon Musk as more marketing buzzword than reality right now. It was also described by a crypto critic and a software engineer as a vapid marketing campaign that attempts to reframe the public's negative associations of crypto assets into false narratives about the disruption of legacy tech company dominance. Obviously, these are only the opinions of two individuals. However, these are highly regarded individuals with proven records. This new venture he announced is described by the man himself as a Web3 drug discovery platform. A direct quote from Martin Shkreli made it quite clear that his new firm is not a pharmaceutical company. And the quote reads, "Druglike is a blockchain/Web3 software company and not a pharmaceutical company. Druglike is not engaged in pharmaceutical research or drug development." This makes a lot of sense given his past situation of effectively running what was described as a Ponzi scheme, as well as being banned from actually running a publicly traded company. Of course, this new venture is still in the infancy stages, it's not publicly traded, but if you look at some of the other marketing jargon that was included in the press release, Shkreli said the aim of the platform is to lower the price of drugs. The guy sure knows how to get publicity. As mentioned at the top of the episode, Shkreli became famous as a pharmaceutical executive who increased the price of a drug by 5,000%. To add to the irony of it all, the guy's banned from being an exec as mentioned in the pharmaceutical industry, yet the aim of this new company is to eventually lower the price of drugs. Shkreli went on to say in the press release, "It's a niche product. For sure, it could change the way medicine is being made." Shkreli also said software licenses for traditional drug design software can run from $50,000 to $100,000 per month. So this gives you an idea of the amount of money he is likely going to be generating on this new venture if it is successful. So currently at the time of recording this video, Martin Shkreli is not 100% free. Only he would announce a new business venture while still in a halfway house after serving his sentence in prison. If this was anyone other than Martin Shkreli, I might have been a bit surprised to hear that they are starting a Web3 drug discovery business, but not with Martin Shkreli. Only a little over 2 months out of prison, and while still staying in a halfway house, Shkreli is launching a Web3 drug discovery software platform. Part of me truly admires the hustle within the man, but a whole other part of me truly dislikes his morals and proven greed. But that is my 2 cents on the matter. There are other controversies we did not touch on in this episode that took place during Martin Shkreli's first stint in the public eye. Some of these include the Wu-Tang album Controversy, bailing out of Bobby Shmurda, etc. In conclusion, I can safely say that this is not the last we'll hear about Martin Shkreli and his business venture. Time will tell us how this particular venture he has gone into will play out, but for now, it makes an interesting story. Thanks for watching. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the bell button and please make sure that you do subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you're listening to the audio version on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, please consider subscribing.